Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Councilman Lombardi, would you lead us this evening?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a moment of silence to remember those men and women who remind us each and every day that our freedom is not free. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, welcome once again, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Today's date is Tuesday, November 24th, 2015. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a work session. And the first item on the agenda, let me just back up. For the record, all Town Board members are present with us this evening, as is our Town Comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell. She's in the audience. She's going to be covering one of the items tonight. And all the way down to my left is our Town Attorney, Greg Fulchetti. First item on the agenda, consider additions, deletions to the active list of the Carmel Volunteer Fire Department. And we have a memo here from Robert Lipton. He's the Second Assistant Chief of the Carmel Fire Department. Dear Mrs. Spofford, the following people have been added to the fire department roles as probationary members, and they have one name here. It's John Green from Carmel, New York. So he's going to be joining the ranks of the Carmel Fire Department. And they also have 4 members that they are dropping from the roles of the fire department. These 2 first names are their 2 deceased members of the fire department. They recently passed away within the last 6 months. Charles Conklin and Arnie Olson. And the last 2 names, Mike Metesio and Steve Priolo from Carmel, New York, have been dropped from the roles of the fire department. So they're dropping 4, removing 4, and adding 1. Any questions, comments regarding the Carmel Fire Department's membership? Okay. Next, number 2. Consider additions, deletions to the active list of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. Dear Mrs. Spofford, the following person has been added to the roles of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, and her name is Rachel Fleischer from Mahopac, New York. And they are dropping 6 members from the fire department. Their names are Matt McElhenney, Dina Ramon, Vincent Viago, Lauren Vinci, Mike Reaney, and Ryan Hope. Those members are being dropped from the roles of the fire department. So they're adding 1 and dropping 6. Questions, comments from the board? No? Okay, number 3, Mary Ann Maxwell, our Town Comptroller, and Michelle Tenafrancia, the account clerk 2 in the Comptroller's office. This is to consider request to adopt Town of Carmel purchasing policy. Ladies, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Okay. The Town of Carmel currently has a procurement policy, an adopted procurement policy, which basically sets forth the policies and procedures of the Town of Carmel to meet the requirements of the General Municipal Law, Sections 103 and 104. What I'd like to discuss with the board tonight is something that's more comprehensive. It's a purchasing policy, a purchasing process that I would like to discuss with the board and have adopted as a policy. The purchasing process is designed to provide a system of internal control over purchasing to ensure that proper authorizations are obtained before items are purchased, and to ensure that the Town of Carmel procurement policy is followed. The KVS system, the financial system that we have, which is KVS, is capable of generating a number of forms. There are, I think, 5 departments that have access to KVS. So a good amount of our departments, the bigger departments, have access to KVS. So they currently use it, and we want to make sure that this process is followed. Requisitions is the first step in this purchasing process. A requisition initiates a request to purchase goods and services from a vendor. Once all required quotes, bids, contracts, and resolutions are obtained, a requisition must be entered into the KVS financial system by the designated department. At that time, the correct appropriation number is entered, and if the account is over budget, a budget transfer form must be submitted to the Comptroller's office before proceeding. We've worked with the departments. If there is money in the budget, we've worked with them, and, if it's not approved by the town board, because we only come to the town board for budget revisions, every other month, so we've worked with the departments where if there is money in another line in that department, we will go ahead and, approve the requisition. So upon the department approval, the requisition will be reviewed by the Comptroller's office, and if the departments do not have access to KVS, an email must be sent to the Comptroller's office with the details of the requested purchase. Step 2 of the purchasing process is purchase orders. Once a requisition has been fully approved, a purchase order will be created, and a system-generated email will be sent to the department that created the requisition. If the department does not have access to KVS, once the requisition is approved, a purchase order number will be emailed to the department, which they can then send to the vendor. At this point, the goods and services can be purchased from the vendor. So the department should not be initiating any kind of purchase before these 2 steps are followed. And step 3 of the purchasing policy is vendors and vouchers and vendor claim forms. The department representative should timely send these forms to the Comptroller's office with the required documents. If there's quotes, bids, contracts, the vendor claim form should be signed by the vendor. So we're asking that these steps be followed by the department. There are exceptions to this purchasing policy, obviously emergencies that, you don't have time. If there's a water main break, you don't have time to, to go and follow all these steps. So, that is an exception. Leases are generally approved by the town board prior to, so those are approved ahead of time. Professional services, town board authorized contracts, and utilities such as, NYSEG and fuel deliveries and things like that. So there are some exceptions to this purchasing policy. I'd like to give credit to Michelle for really spearheading the writing of this policy, along with myself. But, she really did a lot of work in preparing this, so. Yes,
I have a question.
question.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay, question.
The last sentence under requisitions,
Okay,
if the department does not have access to KVS, an email must be sent to the Comptroller's office with the details of the requested purchase.
Yes.
All departments don't have access to KVS?
no,
And
We-
why is that?
because we would have to pay for additional licenses.
Oh, that makes sense.
So,
All right. How many
yeah.
licenses do we have?
I think 10, is it 10?
I think
Yeah, I think 10 licenses.
Okay.
some departments don't do a lot of purchasing.
Yeah, it's really not necessary. Like, say, the justice court, the town clerk do not have access, but if, they have a requested purchase, they'll email Michelle, and she'll enter the requisition.
Okay.
And then, once the requisition is approved, it's, she just sends the purchase order back to her.
Yeah, I'll send the purchase order over.
So there would
So-
be an additional cost under our licensing agreement to purchase additional
Yes.
licenses so each department would have the capability, but you don't feel that that's necessary?
I don't think
An email is suffice?
Yeah, I
works?
think so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
not
we
so
can look
hard.
into the cost, if
Mhm.
if we wanted to consider, adding additional licenses, but, I mean, the main departments, engineering department, the police department, highway, recreation.
Police?
Yeah, police.
Supervisor.
Supervisor.
Yeah, supervisor, forgot about you. Sorry. The only other departments, like, Justice Court does do some purchases, but their purchases are pretty routine.
Mhm.
They have interpreting services once a month. They'll
So
send
it's-
Michelle an email, and Michelle will enter it and then get them back a purchase order. So I really don't think it's,
So the frequency of requests are small?
Yeah.
The number's small
Yeah.
compared to the other larger departments?
Right.
That makes sense.
yeah,
So an email, I think,
yeah,
should continue to be Yeah.
And I think your
Okay.
office handles like the maintenance, if Joe Harmon has
Okay.
any purchases, so,
All right,
I think what we're doing now works, so.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
Good. Thanks, Marion.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else have-
Marion, is it going to be a designated person from each department that makes the requisitions, or would it be?
We currently have designated, basically it's the account clerks that enter the requisitions, and then it's approved by the department heads in that department, and then, it's all generated in KVS, where an email, once you hit that send button, for a requisition, an email goes, say Donna in engineering enters one. Once she enters it, I think it goes to Rich. Rich approves it. Once Rich approves it, the email goes to Michelle. Michelle approves it, and then it goes to me.
Okay, I just wanted to
So-
see the step process. That's
Yes,
fine.
yes, yes.
Makes sense.
So
Very good.
it's, but what we're seeing now is that these requisitions are being entered after the purchase is made, like they have an invoice in front of them, and then they're entering a requisition. So, it has to be followed. What we intend to do is meet with the departments, and, if a town board member wants to join us, if Kenny wants to join us, if, Greg, you're welcome too.
Make it a party.
We just want to make sure that this is strictly followed.
Yeah, it's important, and I think
Yeah.
maybe since this will be starting in the new year, you can actually track and to see if, for example, a department that you think perhaps didn't, or you thought didn't have a lot of requisitions, all of a sudden does, and maybe you'd want them to get the license into the KV, so
Right,
we'd
we
have to,
can-
we can figure that out later in
Right.
next year.
We can definitely look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it
All
further.
right, no, that's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
And so unless it meets one of these 5 exceptions on the back,
Yes.
emergencies, leases, professional services, town board authorized, or utilities, unless it meets one of those, then.
Then they have to follow this process,
This
yeah.
this policy has to be
follow this
followed.
process, correct,
Okay.
correct. And we'll address this if something comes up where, we feel that something else should be added or deleted from the exception list, then
Mhm.
we can, address it. I mean, that's, we're gonna hit, bumps in the road, as we go. We'll work with the departments and, I'm sure they'll come up with certain circumstances where they'll be like, well, I didn't have time to put a requisition in, but, we'll address those and,
And what we should do, Mary Ann, when the board adopts this,
mhm.
which I anticipate that they will, we should probably have a staff meeting, get
Right.
everybody together, and, did you
Yep.
say that already? I'm
I
sorry.
did,
You
yeah.
did? I-
Yes.
I was
That's
talking
okay,
to,
that's okay.
somebody tapped me over here, I'm sorry.
No, I would like to have a staff meeting and,
Did you say, and if the supervisor would like to attend, he's
I
invited?
did,
And Greg.
I did.
And Greg.
And I even
All right.
invited Greg.
Sorry, I missed
That's
that
okay,
part.
that's okay. No, I think it's important to,
Yeah.
go over everything with them and, iron out any questions that they may have, so. Okay, and again, I'd like to thank Michelle for spearheading this, the writing of the policy, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mhm.
You did a fine job.
She invited you?
Yeah, Michelle's invited too, right, Mary?
She's running the meeting.
Any questions, comments from the board regarding the procurement policy, purchasing policy? No? Yeah, I think this was long overdue,
Yeah,
and
you can say that.
thanks for bringing this forward.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, number 4, also Mary Ann Maxwell, Town Controller, consider request to submit statement of delinquent Town of Carmel Water District and Sewer District charges for re-levying on the 2016 county and town tax bill.
Okay, this list here is the current Town of Carmel delinquent water and sewer accounts. These are the delinquent accounts for the billing periods of September 2014 and March of 2015. The current bills that we just sent out in October are not included on here. Obviously, they're still current. So we are still tracking, what's on this list now. If the payments are made prior to November 30th, we'll run this report again and, give an updated report to the board for adoption next week on December 2nd. And then those amounts will be sent to the county to be levied on the 2016 town and county tax bill. Okay, so,
Okay.
like I said, I will, if anybody has any questions on any of these accounts, please let me know.
What's the deadline for somebody to come in and make a payment on these?
Monday.
accounts? Monday?
Monday,
30th?
yes.
Monday the 30th?
Monday, the 30th, yes, yes. And I've been checking with the tax receiver's office, to, make sure that they're getting all the payments in that they're receiving. They're receiving quite a bit of payments, but we just did a billing in October. So we're just, checking with them to make sure what they're receiving are not any delinquents, because we don't want to levy somebody that has, a payment that they sent in, so.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right, any questions from the board regarding the water levy? Water levying?
what I'll do is that once I get the final report, I will email it to Ann, as backup for the resolution for next week.
The district attorneys.
Can I be cute and say, did Rich review this? Hence the reason why we need electronic water meters? 2016 project.
Here, Rich.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, you might still have the delinquents. That's true.
Name on there again.
He's on here again.
No, it's
No,
not.
no, it's not.
Johnny.
Okay. All right, girls,
Okay.
girls, ladies, thank you.
Oh, my, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, number
Happy
5.
Turkey Day.
Number 5, Supervisor Schmidt, consider scheduling public hearing on a proposed local law of the Town of Carmel Town Code regarding parades and special events. So, Board, if you would go to your number 5 in your packet. This is what we've been working on, seems like for a couple of years now. The Town of Carmel parade events and street closings ordinance. The Town of Carmel presently does not have a town ordinance with respect to parades and events that take place during the year in the Town of Carmel. And we felt that it has come to the point where we absolutely need to have some type of guidelines and ordinance in place to deal with the many parades and events that take place in the Town of Carmel. We welcome those events. I think the parades are wonderful, and the other events that take place during the course of the year in Carmel for family activities and our fire departments have parades, our Italian-American Club, the Emerald Society has a large parade. So with all these parades, there's a lot of moving parts that are associated with putting a parade together and actually closing a town road for the purposes of having the event. So we felt that we needed to put together a set of guidelines for the host, whoever that might be for the event, that they have to follow. And over the period of a couple of years, myself and the Carmel Police Department actually did a lot of research, and we've put a lot of work into drafting a parade ordinance. And the town board has also given us key information that would be useful with the ordinance itself. So we're to the point now where we have a draft of the ordinance, and we'd like to move forward with scheduling a public hearing. Before we can adopt the ordinance, we need to have a public hearing and allow the public to speak with respect to what's being proposed. But it's pretty comprehensive. There's a lot that goes into the ordinance, but really what it does, it spells out what you can and can't do when you host an event in the Town of Carmel. So there's definitions and word usage that we speak about in here. A permit is required, and there's an application process that we will be asking you to go through. The standards for issuance. There is a time limit for decision or denial. There's an alternative permit. There's an appeal from denial of the permit, if in the event the permit has been denied by the police department. There's contents of the permit, duties and obligations of the parade or event permittee and participants, interference with parade or event parking on route or location, and the actual application itself, person applying for the permit, the organization applying for the permit, parade chairman or event coordinator, details of the parade or event, you have to list that. Location of the event, physical address, fixed location or public venue, proposed parking areas for spectators and participants, approximate number of persons expected to attend, and so on. Other services, other town services that are being requested, fire department EMS services requested, and chief of police. The chief of police will review, and a decision will be made by the chief of police whether it's approved, denied, or an alternative approval is requested, and the chief of police signs off on it, and then the application is forwarded to the town board for an appeal and decision. So, so that's pretty much it. But this is something that the board has indicated that they wanted to continue pursuing. And again, I think this is something positive that is definitely needed in this town because of all the events and parades that take place in Carmel. So now there'll be a set of guidelines that the parade, the host and the organization will have to follow with respect to having that parade or event in the town of Carmel in the future. Does any town board members want to add
Just a
anything
quick
to this?
question. Are we going to be discussing specific routes that they get to choose from? Or is it just going to be open to wherever they want to parade? Because I know, like, we, over
This
the years,
doesn't
we've
address a
discussed.
specific route. This one doesn't address a specific route.
Right, because I know over the years, we've discussed,
This one is more about the size, and it seems like it's all based on size
Yeah,
for a fee schedule.
yeah. Yeah, a specific route, no, Suzie, a specific route for the parade or event was not included in this. But if that's something that we want to.
Do we want to maybe talk about that, too? And,
Yeah, I think,
because didn't the chief think that may be a good idea?
yes, the chief absolutely felt that, and he apologizes, he couldn't be here this evening, but he did indicate that if we could have a designated route, that,
I mean, we can
Rebel.
have different routes, but.
Yeah, two in
just
each
not
hamlet,
leave
and,
it-
and then there still should be one that allows an exception, and then you just pay a varying fee based on what the manpower needs are for the chief and the highway.
But we'd have to have that in this language for the public hearing,
Yeah,
correct?
and Kenny just got some word, that it can change every year. The chief can change it because different events may come up throughout the year.
oh, yeah.
Have a provision there that the approved parade routes for the given year shall be designated by the chief of police in whatever form, by whatever date every year. So that way, you don't have to designate in the statute, change the statute, whatever the case may be, as if in 15 years or in 5 years, if the traffic patterns or development patterns or whatever is going on in terms of maybe construction, maybe you have DOT stuff involved, or county stuff involved that prohibits routes along certain, parades around certain routes or encourages them on other ones, that we have chief of police authority
Yeah, I
to do
like
that,
that.
and that you can write it in there that way.
Okay,
I would suggest that. It makes it a little more flexible.
yeah. Okay. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, so what we'll do, Greg, is on Tuesday when we meet, I'll have the chief come up to our meeting, and then we'll go over that with him.
As long as he's comfortable doing that. I would assume
Yeah.
that he would be.
Okay. All right. The only other question that I have is, all of our other applications that are submitted by those wishing to hold an event or a parade in this particular case, they require an application fee to process it. Do we want to set an application fee for this?
You want to set it in the fee schedule every year, I think that's what I'm doing. So you could change 4413.
4413 to say may.
Say shall. You'll have to do it every year. You'll set a fee. It'll be in your fee schedule. And you can set it by the respective categories if you'd like, and every year you'll have the user fee for that particular category. That way, as years go by, it's flexible, you can change it either way.
Can we, or if we say may, then it leaves it up to the town board that year, that discretion, depending.
May is permissive, shall is mandatory. So my
Town
concern
board
is.
may,
Right, so I guess, once it appears in the fee schedule 1 year, it's not coming out until you adopt the fee schedule with a different number, lower, higher, or you eliminate it. So I would put the language as shall, and the fee is either 0 or something different.
Okay.
Okay, you can say there's no fee for whatever category that you want, okay? That's how I would recommend doing it. That's only really a technical language chanch. The thing about the routes is more substantive that we'd have to work into the body of it.
There's another one on 4411, paragraph N. Any street vendor proposed must obtain an applicable permit from the town first. I just know that there are a lot of organizations that'll have many different events with food vendors there, with street vendors setting up shop, so probably a good idea for us to at least let those organizations maybe have these applications to give out to anyone who's applying as a street vendor at the time for their event. So at least they could fill out both applications and know they have an obligation to do that, if we're gonna keep that in. Because there's one that we have that's specifically just a street expo, where you get 100 vendors. Maybe instead of having them all come directly here, maybe having it filter through the organizations that are putting the parades on,
My guess is that
or maybe taking something like
you may
that.
want proper permits from any jurisdictional authorities, including the town of Carmel.
Because I think, as it stands presently, the only street vendor that has a permit, there's only one, and I believe that it's because town code says to get a peddler permit in the town, you have to be a veteran. And I think there's only one person that I know of, and I think he's a World War II veteran. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but I don't think that we've given out a peddler permit in quite some time, last time I spoke to our town clerk. So that's just a concern there, and then I don't know what to do going forward, but I figure there's a way that you can probably make that language better for us.
I think that peddling wouldn't apply the way our code is written necessarily to these types of events as much as people who go location, location, or door to door. The way our
I
peddlers
think
are.
why we put this in here was for those who show up with the shopping carriages, with all the balloons and all the other items that they,
Or 4411N, sorry.
that, you know, during the parade route, you see them walking around the route selling items to, they're required to get a peddler's permit.
So not someone who is with the, because I know that was a big concern when I was working on the committee for the street expo. There were people who were concerned about vendors who were doing just that, who didn't pay the fee that you would pay to the chamber to actually have a table set up there and be at a display. So I guess if we could just specifically
Yeah.
make mention that someone who's not affiliated with the organization, if that's what we're looking to target, is people
Right.
who are coming in that way.
Yeah, the various vendors for the street festival, those vendors, that wouldn't apply to this. In other words, they wouldn't have to apply for a permit for that particular event. But I agree with you. I think maybe we should put language in there that actually spells that out.
Because this is specifically saying, like, to the event, that anyone who's proposed as a vendor.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the chamber does with every one of their vendors, is they're saying, hey, we're approving them through this.
Yeah.
They would never actually say, hey, we have these outside peddlers who are coming in, so it has not, this really has nothing to do with a street peddler. This is someone getting proposed through the organization.
Okay. So we're gonna,
It almost seems like this should come out if it's being proposed by the organization, or if we want to keep it that way, because maybe there may be a chamber member that may be of a questionable community integrity that we want to put during a street festival. Maybe we want to have an application for that. Not that they're,
I like that word.
yeah.
I try to be,
Is that like in your thesaurus tonight?
I try to get a word
If
in
you
there.
need a permit, you need it independent of the parade. That's the way I look at it.
I don't even think it's a fee. I mean,
Maybe it just comes out. Completely.
yeah.
Need it, you need it. If you don't, you don't.
You know, I don't have an objection. I don't object to actually taking this one out, to be quite honest with you, because those street vendors that show up during the carnivals and the fire department parades, they're not gonna fill this out anyway.
And we have our own town code that goes against it anyway, so we can enforce
The
that.
police department can enforce it just based on the current town code. So let's take
Take it and
Let's
out.
take N out.
Yeah, I think that's what you do.
Let's remove N. I have no problem with that. So we'll take N. All right, Greg?
I just said, I think take it out. You need a
Yeah.
permit independent of the parade, you need it. If you don't, you don't.
Okay.
All right. All right, and the other change, Greg, was going to, or John, on the 4413 is going to be may? The town board, the town of Carmel, may?
Shall.
Or shall?
Because Greg said we could just say it's going to be 0. And we just
Okay.
keep it on a fee schedule. This way, it's on a fee
That
schedule.
way, but now you're
Okay.
bound
Makes
to
sense.
include it every year, at whatever number it is. That's the
Okay.
smartest thing.
All right. All right. All right, was there any other, town board members had any other questions pertaining to the draft parade ordinance? All right. John, Suzie? Because we still have time to, you know,
No, it's just that if people are thinking about having a parade in 2016, just let the chief know, because from what I understood, there were some things going on that he wasn't aware of until.
that the
Remember?
chief wasn't aware of,
Yeah,
as far as an event?
yeah.
Okay.
As far as events, and you really need to have him,
Yeah.
he's gotta be aware of it.
Well, I think, he's got to be aware of it, and when we do formally adopt this as our ordinance, I'm going to ask the weekly newspapers to make sure they get it out so the public is aware of it, you know, run a
Yeah.
story on the town of Carmel has adopted.
We're gonna have a public hearing, I'm sure there's gonna be a story there.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, yeah.
We already have a list of the current parades that are in the town, because we provide
do,
security.
yeah.
So why don't we just do the same thing we did when we changed the application for banners? To, now we send out the new notice, here's what the new format's gonna be, here's the new application.
But Jonathan,
This is
it's
what you
just
do.
not for parades, it's for every single event, every single walk that they have.
Right, yeah, but
on-
anyone
on
that
the
we have that we
yes,
provide
any-
police security for, so let's just send it out to the organization and say, here's the new ordinance, here's what you gotta do. Now you know the rules going forward for 2016 and handle it from here.
We could do that for the ones that we know. For the ones that we don't know, we'll have to rely on public notice.
on Bob,
Yeah, but the ones that we don't know wouldn't have any police security. There's no way that, I mean, I can't imagine that there are any events that we have that are walking up and down the street of Route 6
Or anything you-
without any police security closing off traffic. I would really pray, according to this,
Yeah.
that we don't have people trying to do that.
Yeah.
But we should definitely do a story as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, all right, so do we want to set the date for the public hearing?
You do that by resolution next week,
What would that date be? What would you,
be in January.
January?
You wouldn't get it,
Because you need,
by the time you publish it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get it for the 16th,
need-
which is your last meeting of the
you
year.
need, right.
Um,
Is it 2 weeks, Greg, that you need?
You could
10
probably do a
days?
5-day notice, but I would recommend
Yeah.
doing it at your second meeting, whatever. Are you going to start on the 6th is your first meeting?
Yes, the 6th. And
Would it be the first?
January
oh,
6th is the organizational meeting?
So maybe the 13th.
So,
The 13th.
yeah,
That's what I'd say.
the 13th.
Yeah, you
January
wouldn't want
13th.
to do it at the organizational meeting, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
plus, we're in the middle of the winter anyway, and there's nothing going on. No parades or events that I'm aware of that take place during the winter months, so.
January, February?
We have time. Yeah, it's ready to go. It's shoveling snow and
Jack Frost.
slipping and falling,
All right,
yeah.
great.
All right, anybody else? Any other questions on this, comments?
No,
So sometime
but
in January.
Just to piggyback, if it's January 13th, that's also going to be a work session in regards to Homestead. That's when we're looking at the time schedule for,
Oh,
for
perfect
that.
time, perfect
So
time to
we
have
can
it.
just have a public hearing and a work session on Homestead. I think it's going to bring the community out in good
Everybody
force.
will know.
All right, then they'll all know. They'll all be aware of it then. At least the parade ordinance is part of it. So, all right, okey-doke. So we'll make those changes that we spoke about this evening, and then we'll set the public hearing for sometime in January of 16. All right, good. All right, next item on the agenda, number 6, Rich Franzetti, Town Engineer, consider request to advertise for bids for cleaning services. Rich?
Good evening. I have to mention, I do love a parade.
You too.
Cheeky.
So at the request of the town board, the engineering department has completed the specifications and bid documents for town hall cleaning services. We understand that the board wishes to engage a contractor sometime in early 2016. The engineering department requests authorization to let this bid out for public bid. The scope of services was attached to the document that I provided to the board.
Which the only thing that I would ask if you can add on number 3, where it says thoroughly vacuum and spot clean all carpeted floors as needed, can we add no less than 3 times per week?
Okay?
Because they may seem that it's not needed, but you need to vacuum the carpets here.
No problem?
Similar to the dusting of the surfaces, the horizontal surfaces, could we add it to like the monthly or even
Well,
add it quarterly?
It's daily.
No, it's daily up to 5 feet, but what about like filing cabinets or anything like that, that it's greater than 5 feet? You know, it's kind of like my, hate
Yeah.
to say it, it's kind of like my refrigerator in my kitchen. Every 3 months I go up there and I got a lot of dust up there, so, you know, maybe if we had a quarterly basis that they have to dust above 60 inches.
Okay, quarterly, you'd like to see that as?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
What?
In regards to this, also point 15, on a daily basis, clean the windows, glass, main floor meeting hallways, everything there. Will we have something in regards to exterior window cleaning? I know, ironically enough, today I saw a guy, I believe, cleaning windows today.
Yeah, outside.
So,
I think because of the height of the building, and I think that's gonna have to always be a separate contract. So
Totally
maybe
separate
they could do the
contract.
ground floor ones, we can ask him to do that.
Okay.
But I think once you start going up to these larger windows and the taller ones, I think it might be a little more difficult.
right. Then the other thing
But
was,
we can add something in there if you'd like.
Is it number 15, Jonathan, covers that, or am I missing?
well, no, because that's interior, that's not
Gotcha.
the exterior. But then the other thing was if we could also do a, just a kind of à la carte in regards to waxing and stripping. I know that these are just services that, when I was treasurer for a fire district, we would have that, and it would usually turn out to be once a year, but if we had a lot of calls and things got really roughed up, we would call them in, and we had that. We had cleaning services for the kitchen, which we don't have to worry about here.
Or police department only.
Yeah, but I'm thinking we might want to do it more than once a year, possibly, just depending on traffic wear and tear.
Do we do it more than once a year now?
And that was going to be my next question, is do we do all these things daily as is?
No,
Daily?
it's not done now.
Exactly,
Not
or
daily.
weekly, or monthly?
Well, I mean, there's vacuuming that's done, there's, some of the activities here are done, but not the full list that's in here. This list was adapted from the one that the police department currently uses and has let out in the past, so it was more following theirs, so yeah, that's why that was done that way.
Okay, and all of theirs is daily right now downstairs?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Conclude by. Rich, number 16, on daily basis, number 16. Cleaning services for weekdays shall start at 8:30 a.m. and conclude, should we put in there, conclude by 4:30 p.m.?
That's fine?
Because the town hall closes at 4:30.
You got it?
Not sure. And also, with flexible hours to start between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on weekends. And would you add this would be for police department only? So,
Since we're closed.
since we're closed on the weekends and the PD is open, so just include in that sentence for police department only, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on weekends.
Okay,
All right?
you got it. I'm
Okay.
taking notes here, just so you know. I'm not being like a kid at Thanksgiving table.
All right.
You're on the internet. Okay. What's the score of the basketball game?
I can't tell you, because I'm typing right now.
Okay, and what are we supplying with this? What will we continue to supply for the cleaners? Is there any items that we have to, that they're not gonna provide?
I have
Tra-
to pull that up. so
Trash
hold on.
bags, cleaning chemicals and things like that? Is there something that we have to continue to supply?
We are going to supply soap and paper products. Everything else, all necessary janitorial equipment and supplies to carry out the above services. So that would, we can exclude, does not include bags or anything like that, so we make sure that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If that's I mean, that's easy language to put in there, what they are needing to bring. We could certainly include that kind of language.
Okay, so cleaning service will supply all necessary janitorial equipment and supplies to carry out the above outlined services. So it will include everything other than soap and paper products?
Correct.
Okay.
Problem is, if you go into too detailed a list and then you miss something and you go, well, you're supposed to include this, well, that wasn't on my list, so it's everything but. We'll do paper and, you know.
Yeah. Okay. All right, any further questions for the engineer regarding the cleaning services for the town hall and PD? I think we have everything covered. Scrub and thoroughly rinse all bathrooms. Cleaner, good. Okay, Rich, if there's anything else that I may come up with, or the board may come up with, we'll let you know. We'll include it in it. When is this going out?
Right after you give me authorization to go out with it, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
So
All right, so
if
there's
the board votes on it next week, it'll go out soon after that.
All right.
The intention is to have this done as early as possible, so we can start the services sometime early next year. Reality being what it is, it probably won't happen till the end of January with all holidays and everything else, and making sure that we can get companies in to bid on this. So most likely the end of January is when we should see something coming in, and, you know, with contracts and everything else. So maybe February we'll start this service.
Do they usually come in and look at the building first to see what it's like, or just do it by
But
paper?
I mean, you know, I haven't finalized parts of that, but I mean, on the grand scheme of things, we will, we could tell them to have a mandatory site visit, which is what, it's in our legal notice. So, to say you gotta come here, and part of the whole document says you need to be familiar with the facility that you're dealing with. That's kind of standard language in our contracts, or that's out there, so I only gave you the scope, not the entire, document.
Now, I know it has the,
Yeah.
anything that's not carpeted. This is also including, when I guess when you walk through, just make sure it includes the stairwells also.
It does, I'll make sure that the language is, you know, in that scope, we can say
Because,
stairwells in
I
there.
don't wanna keep on adding things to it, but maybe if you do when you do the walkthrough, you can say, just so you know, this is.
Yes, I will do that.
Rich, you know, Sue?
What?
You finished? I just want to add one more item. Services are applicable to all offices, storage rooms, foyers, and bathrooms in town hall. I would also put in there meeting room. The town hall meeting rooms 1 and 2, or town hall meeting room.
Okay?
All right? Because this meeting room has to be swept, and the floor has to be cleaned also.
And stairways.
Hmm?
Stairways?
Yeah, that's what Susie mentioned,
Oh, I'm sorry.
the stairwell.
Yeah, Susie mentioned stairwells, Kenny mentioned the meeting room.
town
It'll
hall
all be
meeting-
included in the
meeting-
scope.
Town hall meeting rooms.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just so they know that, all right.
Can I make a request? Since we're gonna have someone coming and doing this, can we institute a recycling policy in the town hall? Because right now I throw away my soda can every time I have one, which isn't, it's only once a month. It's only once a month, but I still feel bad doing it. And I do know that we recycle our toner here.
We're here
Yeah.
4 times a week, 4 times a month.
I know, I only actually have one soda.
Oh, all right.
I listen to you every time we talk
Yeah,
about the
right,
summer
I know.
snack
Yeah.
bar. But I would appreciate if we could work on something like that. I think it would be a good thing to try to implement, is a recycling program. Especially if we're gonna have a vendor coming in daily, it shouldn't be an issue to institute that and have it in this RFP.
I'll add that language in there. That means they'll have to provide extra pails. I don't think
Well,
they
we do
would.
have a recycle for paper near the copy machine outside.
That is
right?
true. We have it on both floors as a big green bin.
Right.
I'll add it in there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I apologize. I gotta get you this.
No, that's-
Mop all non-carpeted floors and sanitize, okay. All right, I think we covered everything. If there's anything that we're gonna add after tonight, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Board members come up with anything, let me know, and I'll let Rich know. You can just let him know directly.
So just one more thing, maybe if, in regards to the recycling, if we do the single stream, same as we did with the garbage district, where everything can be commingled, so we wouldn't have to worry about separating things out or anything like that, just to make it an easier program to implement, and hopefully keep our costs down so we don't have too many receptacles that they have to provide.
Yep, I will do that.
Rich, just on another note, separate from this discussion, the enclosure.
For the
the whole
dumpster?
Container, the dumpster, we got proposals for that, correct?
I provided the town board that information, so it's up to the town board to
Okay, so
approve.
the town board has to move on it. move
Correct.
forward on it. Okay. All right, so
Can we do that?
whenever you guys are ready to go ahead and we'll approve that by resolution, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the low bidder, proposer was. If we're comfortable with them.
If I could put it on
Can we
next
get
week.
that on the next work
We
session?
put it on next,
Voting meeting.
we actually vote on it next voting meeting?
If you'd like. Do a resolution for it.
Are you guys okay to vote on it at the next voting meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
Lowest bidder. got
we should
the-
probably have
we
we
had
should
the-
probably have the work session. I mean, it really has been many, many years that we haven't been up to a code that we enforce, even though we're not legally obligated to do it, I understand. But it, probably just for public interest and transparency, have the work session. It's another week,
So we'll put that on for December,
2 weeks.
2 weeks from, 2 weeks. To vote, yeah, 2 weeks.
For the work session,
Yeah,
and then it'll
work
be
session
3 weeks
and
for a
weekend.
vote, and,
Okay.
and then first quarter of 2016, it's done.
Ann, could you put that on for the next work session? Annie? Thank you. I can't see you. Okay, thanks.
Why we need it as a work session if we have, it's lowest bidder on the,
Okay, anything else?
We always have a meeting with-
Oh, we got one more. All right, Rich, I'm sorry. Consider request to reject all bids and advertise for bids for the purchase and installation of a new roof at Sycamore Park main building.
So on Wednesday, October 21st, bids were opened by the town clerk for the above project that Kenny just mentioned. The scope of work involved complete removal of existing shingled roof on the existing structure Sycamore Park. Removal and disposal included all existing roofing materials, sheathing, soffits, rakes, fascia boards, gutters, and leaders, and installation including sheathing, underlayment, asphalt shingles, flashing, snow and ice shield, drip edge soffits, fascia boards, rakes, gutters, and leaders. We received 6 bids in the range of $55,732 to $206,000. The engineering department performed an analysis for the apparent low bidder's cost, and we estimated at approximately $22,000 for material and $45,000 for labor, using the prevailing wage rate, for a total cost of $67,000, which did not include, our assessment did not include disposal costs for the demolition materials. Our assessment showed the actual market costs were higher than the lowest bid, and in essence, also the town board may be aware the original budget amount for this project was $28,000. Based on the evaluation of the bids, and we recommend that the roof replacement bids be rejected because of insufficient funds. If the board wishes to rebid the project, we may wish to consider increasing the budget or modifying the scope of work to bring it in line with the budgeted amount.
Okay, good. Thanks, Rich. Any questions, comments for the engineer with respect to the roof replacement at Sycamore Park main building?
I think we were gonna discuss in, I guess, rebidding that, but modifying what it listed out there so that it didn't call for a complete demolition of the existing roof. It was only gonna be as needed for the underlayment, is that right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be a new
Any
scope.
idea when we're gonna look at doing that, to have it rebid under a different scope?
I guess if, could the board, in part of rejecting this one, give the approval to go out and rebid as part of the resolution? I don't know the answer, but that might be the way to do it, and we can, it's not a big effort on our part, we already have the document done, we just have to re-let it out. So,
Yeah, if we could do that, I'd rather, because to me, it seems like that is where the astronomical cost came from, which is why it was almost twice as high as what was estimated. I think it was just the way that it was bid out, and I think if we at least correct that in the new bid packet, then hopefully we'll get the numbers more in line with what we had budgeted.
understood.
I agree, because the original scope was to complete tear off.
And we had just put a lot of money into that
Did.
over the past few years.
Yeah, changed some of the sheathing, somebody on the lane. So, all right. Yeah, Greg, if you could prepare a resolution like that, you know, so reject and approve going out to rebid it, authorize to rebid it. Okay, good. Anybody else, Frank? No? All right. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
All right. All right, that concludes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board work session. Since there will be nobody coming up to comment on the agenda items or new business this evening, we're just gonna go ahead and, the Town Board's got some public announcements they'd like to make with respect to community events, and we're gonna start down with Susie. Can you announce yours?
On Saturday, November 28th, at the Mahopac Chamber Park, there's going to be a holiday in the park. There's going to be complimentary hot chocolate, complimentary photo with Santa by Aleska Photo, and holiday carolers. The festivities begin at 4 o'clock. Santa arrives by the fire truck at 5:30, and at 6 o'clock is the Christmas tree lighting and the menorah lighting.
Thanks, Sue.
Yep.
John?
I have a dueling activity from Susie. I have a New England Christmas celebration at the Union Valley Cemetery Chapel, 743 Union Valley Road, Mahopac, New York, Saturday, November 28th, 2015, 4 p.m. Welcome the holiday season by singing traditional Christmas carols accompanied by the Westchester Putnam Youth Symphony String Quartet. Holiday refreshments will be served. In case of inclement weather, please tune into WHUD, that's 100.7 on the radio. There will be a snow day on the following day, Sunday, November 29th, 2015, again at 4 p.m. If it snows, HUD will notify you if it's been canceled and moved. For further information, you can contact Wendy at Worthington Labradors 03@gmail.com.
Okay, thanks, John. Susan. Jonathan, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have the,
Top dog.
yeah, top dog, yeah.
I don't have a flyer in front of me, but I feel like after so many weeks of reading it, I believe it's November 30th. You're allowed to put your submissions into. The dogs need to be licensed with the town of Carmel, and you could go right online to carmelny.org. And voting, I believe, is going to be from December 6th through the 13th, and there's going to be a few prizes. So carmelny.org, go to the town clerk's webpage, and you'll find the top dog contest.
Okay.
And then also, yes, thank you. Because a lot of people may be viewing this after Thanksgiving. I usually wait until after Thanksgiving to mention it. Toys for Tots has started its local campaign with the help of a lot of volunteers between northern Westchester and Putnam County. Every year, we're able to get a lot of much-needed toys for a lot of girls and boys, all the way from newborns up to age 18. We're going to have a box here at the town hall. We'll have boxes all over at local establishments that support the not-for-profit agency. And if you have any toys that you're able to provide, it's always appreciated. There's jugs for monetary donations. That's always appreciated as well. And most importantly, because the community is so affluent, if you have any organizations that have members that may be of need during this holiday season, please just reach out to us at Toys for Tots and let us know. You can either reach me through the town hall here at 628-1500, or you can call my office, or I believe you could go to toysfortots.org and look up local establishments as well that'll be able to provide. So holiday season's here, and the community's always been great at supporting one another. So we're just going to ask, keep going through the season, and give thanks for what you have. Very important holiday here.
Absolutely. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Frank?
Okay, this is for Saturday, December 5th, so not this coming Saturday, the Saturday after. The Holiday on the Lake Parade and Tree Lighting in the Hamlet of Carmel, sponsored by the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association, and the schedule of events, starting at 9 a.m. is Carmel Firehouse Pancake Breakfast with Santa. 12 o'clock is Reed Memorial Library stories, music, Santa visit, holiday concert. 4 o'clock, Cornerstone Park for caroling, hayride with Santa. Knights of Columbus for family activities fun. 5:30 live music, 6:15 Santa stroll, and then, of course, the Parade of Lights starts at 6:30, followed by approximately 7:30 for the caroling and tree lighting ceremony at the lake, and the Holiday Bazaar, Craft Fair, and events will be at St. James Jew Methodist Church and VFW Hall. So that is on Saturday, December 5th, starting at 9 a.m.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Frank. All right, and I just have two announcements. The town hall will be closed this Thursday, November 26th, for Thanksgiving, and we're also closed on the 27th. So the 26th and 27th, the town hall will not have hours. We will reopen for regular business hours on Monday, November 30th at 8:30 a.m. And also the e-waste container, our electronic waste container, will not be having hours this Saturday. It's closed this Saturday, November 28th. It will reopen the following Saturday for your e-waste disposal items. All right, so that's it. We do not have executive session this evening, so we're going to be closing the meeting right from here. And I just want to wish everyone out there a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day with your families. Have plenty of food and drink responsibly. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So I need a meeting to close?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you next time for a town board voting meeting.